Hello, Reverend Crystal Cox here, and we are going to read a little bit today. Okay, so the philosophy of emptiness is what we're going to talk about as we are working on embracing the unknown. Okay, letting experiences be brand new. It's really kind of hard when the known is so comforting. It's your family, it's your peer group, it's just a program, folks. It's just an addiction to validation, to attention, to, yeah, you might enjoy people, but a lot of times people just continue hanging out with certain people or doing things a certain way because they're afraid to let go of the shore. They prefer the known over the unknown, even if the unknown is traumatic and abusive and not passionate and kind and inspiring. And on that note, remember, if it's not a hell yeah, it's a no. Always choose the preference you do want. Never compromise who you really are, because every choice leads to another possibility of reality, another possible timeline, another literal physical reality. You project a frequency based on your emotions, your beliefs, and then, mixed in with mass consciousness and blah, 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 the game board. And you can literally have one version of a person one day and a totally different version of them the next day. So one day maybe they're not into manifestation, or they've never heard of the Mandela effect, or they don't believe in UFOs, or even something is like they've never ever liked ketchup. Okay, it's that simple. But you know that they did. The next day they can they can say the complete opposite on all of it, and it's true. And it's not gaslighting. They're not messing with you. You've manifested a different version of them based on your own thoughts, your own programs, your own emotions. Okay, so if we keep hanging on to the known, we're not going to get more things on the menu. See, the goal is, like, imagine that you've traveled, if you just kind of think 3D terms, you traveled around the world, every little shop, every little village, every farmer's market around the world, and you've got a collection of, let's say, 1 million spices. Okay? And then you do that for 20 years, 30 years, and then you spend the rest of your life after that using these spices to create the dishes that you want. Okay? Some spices you're going to like, some spices you're not going to like. But when you picked them, you liked them. They were exotic, they were different, they were special, they were something that you really enjoyed at that time. Okay? So you start just downsizing what it is that you prefer. So you did this by traveling and getting things on the menu, okay? Literally, metaphorically too. So what we're doing is we're gathering things like the spices. So every lifetime, every version of us in every realm, parallel lives, past lives, whatever you want to call it, all of it. We've learned what we like and we've learned what we don't like. And then we go back to our home planet. We'll all have our own planet, our own star. We are our own consciousness. We are way bigger than this. We're like Christ consciousness is a conglomerate of entities. And Cryon, like that's a bunch of entities. We are collective. We're not just us on the other side, okay? So we're collecting things that we like and we don't like. Okay, so we're having life experiences, and we never would have known. Like, we might stumble on some construction, for example, of a house, and we're like, wow, that really moves me. I never even thought of that. And then we kind of put that in our database. Some things we might remember, some things we might not, but it all goes in the Akashic record. And we hold a vibration of what we prefer. And then when we go home, to our star planet, or become our own, create our own, we bring with us what it is that we like, what it is we prefer. Okay. Now, if we'd have just come to Earth and we'd have just known broccoli, for example, and we'd have just known a certain lifestyle and a certain body type and a certain gender, and there wouldn't be a lot on the menu, right? We go, oh yeah, we really like that. I really like this particular meal. I really like this book. I really like this place I went to, and then that's all there is. Okay. So if you find a place you love, and you keep going to that place, and that's where you spend your life, and you find a book you love, and you just keep reading that, certain clothes you like, you keep doing that, you already know you like it. So that's the familiar. It's hard to let go of that, to go and find other things you like, so we can collect the database of what we like, what we prefer, so we can create worlds later that we prefer. Okay, because we literally create our physical reality by our frequency. Okay, some people call it the Mandela effect. It's a parallel reality shift. It's you drawing into your life based on your own frequency, like turning into the rock station or the country station. You literally tune in to a certain version of reality. Okay, if you stick with the known all the time, then the first time out of the gate, or whatever you want to call it, I'm born here, I'm on Earth. Okay, I've experienced this. I got this certain type of car, this certain type of clothes. All these, you only know that. Okay, if you just stick with what you might have liked at one time. But if you keep expanding that, yeah, you're going to run into some things you don't like. You're going to run into people that it makes it feel like they hurt you. But really, it's your programs that are hurting you. You're removing programs, you're removing triggers. You're doing all that at the same time as you're discovering what you like and what you don't like. Things that you would have never known as just spirit. It's just ether on the other side, right? We have these experiences, and then we know what we like and what we don't like. And we literally create reality from those experiences. So an encouragement to let go of the known and go for the unknown. Yeah, you might not like it. You might get hurt. You might stub your toe. You might end up some way or the other. Okay, but that too will be an experience. If you trust your highest and best is going to happen, you choose what feels best at the time. You're put into situations and events, circumstances to experience them. You might like it, you might not. Some of them you're like held into it, and you seemingly can't escape from it because your mind doesn't believe it, but also because you chose before you came to Earth to experience these certain things. Okay, you're like, oh, I want to experience like you're going to the carnival and I want to get cotton candy and I want to get a burger and I want to ride this ride and I want to play this game and you chose all the things you wanted to experience. So some of them you kind of locked yourself into experience. Okay, and some of these experiences don't feel like fun, but what the definition of fun and not fun and blah 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 really kind of comes down to what you prefer and what you don't prefer, and you're gathering things that you prefer, and so is society as a whole, right? We moved in 2012. We moved everything over kind of to a new reality base, a new hard drive, a new experience. Okay, whatever you want to call it. And they're filtering out all the old timelines. I usually say they're collapsing. They're also filtering out what society doesn't want. Okay, so say if there's 51% that want this, they're filtering that out. And you're doing it individually. You're filtering out the timelines you didn't want, the types of food you didn't prefer. Some of those things that you did year after year after year, even though you didn't prefer them, because you wanted to please people around you. You wanted them to be okay. You didn't want to leave because you want to leave at the right time, so they're okay, right? And you're never going to make someone else okay. You're either doing what you really want to do or not. You're following your preference or not. You're telling the truth about how you feel about something or you're not. There's many reasons we don't, right? It's easier to just like lie, right? It's easier to just say, oh yeah, that's a nice shirt. And some of it seems benign, but you don't have to prostitute yourself and say you like things to please family member, friends, or even strangers so that you don't trigger your program. If you don't like it, say, yeah, I don't really like that for me, but maybe you could say like, I'm glad that you enjoy it. Because if it's a lie, if you don't even think they look good in it. This is just an example, but I've been finding lately that Spirit's been pushing me to tell the truth, like right down to the detail. I have to speak what I'm willing to do, what I'm not, and not just let things run over me, not be a doormat to something that I say over and over and over I want, and I'm not being heard. I have to say, I'm not willing to do this, or I'm not willing to do that, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. Not like, well, I prefer if you didn't do that. People are going to be who they're going to be. If your preference really is that they didn't do that and they keep doing that, it's your job to remove them out of your life, okay? It's your job to go into the unknown. Okay, so at that moment you don't prefer this abuse, okay? That's all the decision you need. You don't prefer that. So you move into the unknown. Like, what now? I don't even know, right? And then things will get on the menu. And how you get things on the menu is by experiencing things. But the biggest challenge is kind of not to mourn the known, mourn the last, mourn the things that you thought, like mourn the abusive situation, for example, or a house or an adventure that you took that you missed because you're not on it now, right? If you just stick in that, then you're wasting, per se, this now creation moment as you're a creator God, based on pulling stuff back from the past that you didn't prefer. So even though you left a situation you didn't prefer, you're lamenting over it. So you're creating energy to that, and that's what you're drawing to. So then you're drawing the monster to you, half of what you prefer and half of what you don't. But really, if you're like, look, I don't prefer the way you treat me, and I'm not going to be here. Or you can be like, look, that's good for you, whatever, but I don't prefer it. And so if you're really, really honest, you can trust the resulting reality. No matter how hard it is to tell someone the truth about anything at all, the minute you do that, you liberate yourself to the reality that you really want to be living. Okay? So letting go of the unknown is essential to creating realities, timelines, worlds. Okay? The past world you moved out of is crumbling. It doesn't exist. Even if you hang out with that person again or go back to that place, time doesn't exist, right? And folks like me have lived out a linear time forever, okay? No matter what adventure you think you can go back to, it's never ever going to be the same, right? It's always going to be new. It's always going to be different. We're always ebbing and flowing in a new frequency, okay? The moment is the moment. But if you lament over wanting a past version of someone, or sometimes we trick our mind to thinking something wasn't abusive that was, or maybe we liked a trip that we didn't really like, or this meal that someone convinced us, oh yeah, we like that, and we kind of convinced ourselves we liked it, so we go have it again. Every time we do that, we're creating reality that has a mixture, at least a little bit, perhaps a lot, of things that we don't prefer. If every time we're really honest about what we prefer and what we don't, we create a reality that we prefer. So it doesn't mean like, oh, well, I don't want to go and do this chore today, but I have to do it. Well, maybe not, but I prefer the result of that. Like, say it's the garbage. You prefer an empty garbage, maybe. Or if it's going to some appointment that'll make you feel better, I prefer to feel better. So you kind of maybe, you kind of got the end game in it. You have to assess that. I almost said suss that out, because I tend to use some British terms here. That's not my British accent. Stop. Okay. There'll be no accents. Okay, so let go of the known, embrace the unknown. And that doesn't mean that you have to let people go out of your life, or that people can't come back into your life if it feels like it's something that's highest excitement at that moment. If it feels exciting in that moment, do it. There's a reason. Okay? You can trust the moment of excitement. You don't have to go, oh, I shouldn't do that, or I shouldn't talk to this person, or I shouldn't go there, because I know it's bad for me. If it feels exciting in the moment, you still got stuff to do there. Okay? While at the same time, not being afraid of the unknown, and also knowing that really every next moment is unknown. Okay? If you wake up depressed, for example, you are depressed because maybe you don't know what you're going to do that day, or you don't have any people around, or whatever. You're doing that based on the past, on something that you think should be happening, that you would feel better if that was happening. But that's all based on past definitions, and that's not in the constant now. In the constant now, you feel into the moment and you go, oh, this feels good, or that feels good, or, and then you be honest with yourself all the time. And, I'm not talking about like you think of like little white lies or something with kids, where you're drinking pretend tea, or you're doing, there are places, but that feeling, it, right? Like I used to do it with my parents or other family members quite often. You just feel it. You're like, yeah, you agree with what they're saying because you don't want to hurt their feelings, or you don't want a big blah, 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 blah. So you know that pit in your stomach when you're telling a lie that isn't based on your truth, versus a play lie, like with a kid, of like pretending it's tea, or going, yeah, you look good on that, go you, even if you don't, right? If it feels good to, then it's then it's good and it's of your highest and best good. You'll know the feeling. That sick feeling when you're prostituting yourself, when you're like, yeah, I'll go there with you, when you don't want to go, or I'll do that for you, or I'll do this chore, or I'll do this or that. But, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it because I don't want them to be mad at me. I don't want them to judge me. I want them to like me. They're always going to be mad at you. They're never going to like you. You're never going to be the version of that pleases them. The idea is to be 100% the version of you that pleases you, and then you manifest that version of that person that approves of this version of you, or this version of you that it doesn't affect. Okay, you're not kowtowing to every person on the corner. Oh, you need me to be this? Oh, you need my hair to be like this? Okay. You need me to wear a yellow hat? Okay. You're okay now? Okay. You need me to wear a red hat? Okay. You're okay now? Okay. And obviously that's just one example, but that's how it is. When you please so many people, you forget what it even is that pleases yourself, right? Or if you continually go to a certain barbecue and you eat a certain dish that a friend of yours made, and every time you're like, I like it, then they bring it every time, and they bring it to your house, and they send you the recipe, and they send you recipes near it. Or like if you say you're into frogs, right, in your 20s, and people are bringing you frogs, and you're not like, I'm not into frogs anymore. You get flooded with things you don't want, okay? All you have to do is be honest. Go, and with the barbecue potluck thing, you could be like, I can see where some people like that, but I really just don't like it. You gotta be honest right now. Every little detail, because we are creating worlds bigger and better than ever. The lighthouses, such as myself and you, all you star seeds and light workers, we're all really vibrant now and shored up, and so we can tap into that consciousness. Whatever it is you want to create in your life right now, you can tap into that, but you have to think about it. Okay, much like I give the example of like when in my 20s, when I would have a crush on somebody. Okay, wherever I'm walking, I'm thinking about them. Wherever I'm going, I'm thinking about them. I'm fantasizing about them in every aspect of life, all day, all the time, right? Or like your first couple relationships or whatever, until you realize later you got to create your reality from fantasizing about what you want, and then let people draw to you. Okay, but so that obsession that you might have with a lover, and some people might even later in life, that's what you need to have. What the reality you want to create with, whether it's a building or ushering in free energy. That's going to take a certain vote of mass consciousness, but things in your life, abundance, money, a certain way of life, certain people in your life, but you have to face that fear of being alone, sitting in the quiet, being present in the unknown, and then experimenting based on preferences and intuition of that day. What feels good today? Does it feel good to go to this direction or that, or to town or to the park or the beach? Feel good just to lay down, and whatever you do, don't then those programs that come in to make you feel guilty. Oh my God, you're lazy. Oh my God, you're this, you're that. Oh my God, you're a hermit. Or oh my God, that's all other people's stuff. It feels bad in your body. That's not yours, guys. That's not yours. Okay? Well, what if it's the morals and the this and the that? There's no such thing. And there's no such thing as good and bad. There's only what you prefer. And of course, always the rule of live and let live. You don't then infringe that on someone else. I prefer to eat peas, so you will eat peas, right? And that's obviously an example. But in the all faith church, it's really the only rule we have is live and let live. Like, study all kinds of religions and spirituality and healings, and just be free to be who you are, but don't go around and push that religion or that belief on someone else. If they're curious about it and want to learn, yeah, you teach that. But it's being all faith. The one rule is live and let live. Okay. All right. So this is the Book of Secrets, Osho, and I'm just going to read a little bit on. You see the title? The unknown. Embracing the unknown is the key to creating the reality you want. If you hang on to the known that you didn't prefer, you are going to just create more of that. And even if you go, well, I did prefer it and I want it back, and they left me or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, you have to say either you trust yourself or you don't. You drew that to you, okay? And why in the world would you want to be with someone who didn't want to be with you? Okay, then you're saying you prefer rejection, or you prefer to, instead of working on yourself and dealing with every program and trigger of yourself and enjoying your life and having fun, you want to focus on misery because you want to go after the one who's not interested in you, because your ego just needs to be wanted. Oh my God, I need you to want me, or so I'm okay. Okay, I want you. Well, I didn't really mean it. I just was, Okay, so this is chapter 79. It's called The Philosophy of Emptiness. Okay. So, let's see. Suppose your passion form to be an empty room with empty walls. Gracious one, play the universe is an empty shell wherein your mind frolics infinitely. You bring up the I get too excited. I mean, I get so excited. I don't get too excited. You bring up the images, bring up the sounds in the room of where your visualization is, bring up any smells, any feelings, and just keep there and keep refocusing back to that. And when the little ninny says, or the big bully little ninny says, you can't do that, you're too dumb, you don't have the education, you don't have the money, remember, it's all an inside job. As soon as you convince yourself, the frequency dial shifts, and there it is. No easy task for some things, because what I find is that I run into program after program, trigger, program, and then I have to clear all those out of the way on the way to my prize. Okay, so these techniques are concerned with emptiness. They are the most delicate, the most subtle. Even to conceive of emptiness seems impossible. Buddha used all these 4 techniques for his disciplines, and Bhikkhus, Bhikkhus, and because of these 4 techniques, he was totally misunderstood. Buddhism got completely uprooted from Indian soil just because of these 4 techniques. Buddha said that there is no God. If there is God, you cannot be totally empty. You may not be there, but the God will be there. The divine will be there. And your mind can deceive you, because your divine may be just your mind playing tricks. Buddha said that there is no soul, because if there is any soul, Atma, you can hide your ego behind it. Your ego will be difficult to leave if you feel that there is someone or some self within you. Then you cannot be totally empty, because you will be there. Oh my goodness. Okay, this stuff. Okay. Let's talk about the mind deceiving you, okay? Just remember, if it feels good, it's right for you, and if it doesn't feel good, it's not. And with that, I never mean infringing on someone else's right. If it feels good to steal from them or beat them up, that's not live and let live, okay? I'm talking about what really feels good and joyful to you, okay? And don't let your own mind trick you. Okay, see, Hindus thought that Buddha was destroying religion, that he was teaching irreligion, and people who heard him, even they couldn't follow, because whenever you go somewhere, you go to seek something. You never go to seek emptiness. So those who went to hear him were seeking something. Nirvana, moksha, the other world, heaven, truth, but they were seeking something. They had come to gratify their ultimate desire, to find the truth. That is the last desire, and unless you are completely desireless, you cannot know the truth. The very condition of knowing is to be totally desireless. Right. Right, but we're not looking at the void in the emptiness and the unknown that we're looking at. We're looking at a creation board, right? We're looking at that dark plasma that forms into life. Or recently I seen the symbol of the witchcraft symbol of 8. It kind of makes 8 little L's, and that's the 8 paths and the 8 possibilities. And that, like in this void that I talked about in my last video, this plasma void that comes in and out, there's like say there's 8 possibilities. Okay, you're feeding them. You're feeding several at a time, and then some you just abandon. You're like, that ain't gonna be my life. And then you open a new possibility. And like that, there's a finite number that you kind of have to remove, really literally remove the old to allow the new. All right, so let's see what we got here. Okay. Just imagine if there's no desire within you, what would you be? You're nothing but a bundle of desires. If all desires go, you simply disappear. Not that you will not exist, you will exist, but as an emptiness. You will be there just like a vacant room, no one's there. Just a shunya, a nothingness. Buddha has called the nothingness anatma and anatta, no soulness. You will not feel any center that I am. There will be just amness, no I to it. Because I is nothing but accumulated desires, condensed desires, crystallized desires, many desires. And like the Abraham Hicks teachings about, you're never going to, it's not that you're never going to be satisfied, but you're always going to be reaching for something else. You're always going to be pushing the limits of what you're going to do next. You're always going to want something else. You're never going to be like satisfied, because that's where we're reaching into the unknown. Okay, we can sit here all satisfied, right? What's that saying? Ships weren't made to stay in the harbor, right? But you're just content, and you're watching your shows, you're seeing your same people, you got your same things on the menu, and you're not gathering more experiences that you really do take with you when you cross over. Because when we cross over, our consciousness goes with us, okay? So those of you who experienced what they call the Mandela effect, a switch in reality, you know that our consciousness moved from one body to another. We moved from the Sagittarius arm to the Orion arm, thousands of light years. Okay, you know that I dream, right? So I astro travel, I lucid dream. Sometimes I know I'm awake in my dream. Okay, I drive a car in my dream. I walk around. I eat things. Okay, and I don't need my physical body to do it. I know my consciousness moves on. I know there's no such thing as death, and the parallel reality shift knocked that out of the park for me. My two biggest ones was the location of the heart and the sun. Tons of Bible scriptures, Lion and the Lamb, all that. So I know for sure that my consciousness moves on. Okay, so I want to gather as many experiences as I can here. Okay, and so, but at the same time, I want to be safe and I want to be warm. Okay, so you can gather experiences by holding still as well. I'm not saying like go travel here and there, go do all these. You gather experiences by being a certain frequency, and they kind of come up to you. Whether it's on the internet or the phone or in the store or the post office or the beach, your frequency draws those people to you and those circumstances. Okay, feel your body as empty. The first technique, suppose your passive form to be an empty room. Suppose, I think that I'm going to move on from this. This is another topic for another day. Be playful in activity. The universe is an empty shell wherein your mind frolics. We already said that. Okay. I don't really want to read that. Beyond knowing and not knowing. Sweethearted one. Oh, that's precious. Meditate on knowing and not knowing, existing and not existing. Then leave both aside. All right, well, whatever. So I heard, I don't know if it was a movie or something at one time. It was that the goal was to die while you're alive. And I've done that many times. I've died. I know I left my body once in Hawaii. The water, the undertow took me and I died. And another time in Hawaii, I phased, right? So I felt like I'm driving and it's dark and I'm just in this whole other zoned world, and I felt myself kind of phase in and out. And I knew that I had died in a certain timeline on that road. I kind of forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, anyway, I have experienced, I've completely lost the plot on that because I felt myself phasing in that moment. And I was writing about that the other day. Like sometimes I would sneak out when I was 16 out of my parents' house, and I would be heading to my girlfriend's house, and I'd be in the football field and I would phase. So I would be there and I would feel like my soul or whatever, is inside this human vehicle go in and out of my body to where I could just I felt like I could just lay down and go to sleep. And I had to focus to get to my destination because I would just, and it happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I love the night. I walk and I do things at night. I love the energy of the night. And now the energy is even more intense. And like I was saying earlier about all the lighthouses, the the starseeds, they're shored up in their energy. So now we can tap into that and resonate really much bigger now. I know I went on a tangent, but that's really important. You might have been like, oh, I tried that. I've tried that before. I tried that visualization. I tried this. Well, we're in New Earth energy, dudes. And we're also the lighthouses like me and like you. We're strong now. And so we can, like, say you got one thing to offer, I got another. We can resonate and tap into that and help each other out with a true resonance where something's like the Taurus stone, where it just builds off of itself, and we can do that in mass. And I lost the thought I was saying before that, something about death, but there being no death, I don't know. Who knows? All right, well, let's just pull a card then for who's ever watching this and end this video, okay? Because I've lost the plot. Okay, so ask your question. Okay, I just love it when the tarot readers go, this is a general reading, so take what you want and leave the rest. I'm always like, how do I leave the rest? Like, oh, no, thank you. I don't want half of that sentence, right? Okay, so... okay, here's your message. Lots of activity, sudden and immediate results, important communication. Okay. All right then, well, I love you. This is a wish for you in the flame. I wish you abundance. I wish you perfect health, laughter, love, peace, passion, dance, that your body feels agile and youthing and strong. Your eyes are healthy and strong. Your teeth are healthy and strong. Your muscles. There's joy and laughter and peace and safety. Feeling secure and loved, knowing you're never alone. Blessings to you. All right then. Well, there's that, huh? Okay. Well, I'm saying my goodbyes in long form because, I'm going to walk over there. Okay. And yes, I do believe in the power of the living God. Bye for now. Mwah.